Hello, I'm Esther Gitu. You are welcome to Africa 54. Here's what's coming up. As Christians celebrate Christmas worldwide, Pope Francis calls for an end to political, social, and military conflicts. Dyker Heights in New York is dazzling with the magic of Christmas lighting, and its extravagant holiday displays will take you to this festive wonderland. And VOA's Alexiou takes us downtown Washington, D.C, where a local initiative is helping communities manage stress through knitting. All this and much more coming up on today's Africa 54. We begin in the Vatican, where Pope Francis, in his Christmas message on Wednesday, called for talks between Ukraine and Russia to end the war that followed Moscow's full-scale invasion 2 years ago and has killed tens of thousands. In his Christmas Day Urbi et Orbi to the city and the world address, Francis mentioned the Ukraine conflict directly and called for the boldness needed to open the door to negotiation. Speaking from the central balcony of St. Peter's Basilica to thousands of people in the square below, the Pope also called for gestures of dialogue and encounter in order to achieve a just and lasting peace. Francis, who has recently grown more critical of Israel's military campaign in Gaza, describing it last week as cruelty, also renewed his call for a ceasefire in the Israeli-Hamas war and for the release of the remaining Israeli hostages held by Hamas. He called the humanitarian in Gaza extremely grave. The 88-year-old Francis, celebrating the 12th Christmas of his pontificate, called for an end to conflicts, political, social, or military, in places including Lebanon, Haiti, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Mali, and Mozambique.
Possa la nascita del Salvatore.
May the birth of the Savior bring a new season of hope to the families of thousands of children who are dying from an outbreak of measles in the Democratic Republic of Congo, for the people of the east of that country and of Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Mozambique. The humanitarian crisis that affects them is caused mainly by armed conflicts and the scourge of terrorism, aggravated by devastating effects of climate change, resulting in the loss of life and the displacement of millions of people. My thoughts also turn to the people of the nations of the Horn of Africa, for whom I implore the gifts of peace, concord, and fraternity. May the Son of the Most High sustain the efforts of the international community to facilitate access to humanitarian aid for the civilian population of Sudan and to initiate new negotiations for a ceasefire.
Francis opened a Holy Year for the Global Catholic Church on Tuesday evening, Christmas Eve, which will run through January 6, 2026. A Catholic Holy Year, also known as a Jubilee, is considered a time of peace, forgiveness, and pardon. Christian worshippers attended the midnight Christmas Mass at the Church of the Nativity in the West Bank town of Bethlehem in the early hours of Wednesday as the war in nearby Gaza rages on. The Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, Pier Battista Pizzaballa, led the service in the town revered by Christians as Jesus' place of birth. In the historic city of Bethlehem in the occupied West Bank, due to Israeli attacks on Gaza, the streets were not decorated for this year's Christmas as in previous years, and the Christmas tree in front of the Church of the Nativity was not illuminated. The Church of the Nativity is administered by three churches: the Roman Catholic Church, the Greek Orthodox Church, and the Armenian Church. Over 200,000 Christians, a small but tight-knit community, make up an estimated 1% to 2% of the population in Israel and the occupied West Bank. This year's Christmas in Bethlehem will only be marked by religious rituals and no festivities. Christians in Kenya marked Christmas Day by visiting church where they sang and danced to celebrate the festival. In Kitui town, worshippers gathered for collective prayers, something they weren't able to do last year because of COVID-19. Church elder Mutetei Mutisia said people were excited and wanted to hear the good news and what the Lord has in store for them today, which is the essence of Christmas. Mutisia said while his church did not insist that the congregation members are vaccinated against COVID-19, gatherings observed coronavirus safety protocols. The magic of Christmas is lighting up the New York City, and nowhere is it more dazzling than the Dyker Heights, a neighborhood famous for its extravagant holiday displays. VOA's Aaron Rannan takes us to the festive wonderland.
Dyker Heights, a Brooklyn neighborhood, transforms into a holiday paradise every December. The streets glow with sparkling lights, towering decorations, and the cheerful sounds of the season. What began in the 1980s with a few dedicated homeowners has grown into one of New York City's top holiday attractions. For over 40 years, families have visited Dyker Heights, turning it into a multi-generational tradition.
This is a yearly thing that we do annually with all our nieces and nephews and family, and we come and look at the lights.
The displays range from classic Christmas scenes to playful characters like Frosty the Snowman, the Grinch, Minions, and of course Santa Claus himself.
It's really interesting to see the neighborhood so beautifully lit up, everybody with a kind of unique design. It really gives personality to this neighborhood.
Families stroll through the streets, snapping photos, marveling at the intricate displays, and soaking in the holiday magic.
Me and my wife are taking my son. This is his first time. He's 2 years old. And Dyker Heights, even though I'm from Staten Island, Dyker Heights has always been the place to come and celebrate Christmas and watch all the beautiful lights.
Months of planning go into crafting these breathtaking displays, which bathe the streets in colorful lights and draw both locals and visitors from around the globe, including this family visiting from Croatia.
I think it's very nice. I think the people who live here, they don't have peace. Lots of people every day, but it's very nice, it's different, and I think it's very beautiful.
For a holiday experience that truly dazzles, Dyker Heights is the place to be. Aaron Rannan, VOA News, New York City.
For 92 years, the Hollywood Christmas Parade has featured celebrities and performers celebrating the holiday season. This year, the parade included the Divas and Drummers of Compton, a non-profit group working to give inner-city kids an opportunity to learn performing arts. Ginia Dullo has our story from Los Angeles.
Most of the divas and drummers of Compton are from the Los Angeles suburb that has had a troubled history with gang violence. Kelly Berry founded this group to help change that reputation.
So often children of color are mislabeled with being, aggressive or bad or mischievous. We want to show the world that we are talented and that good things come from inner cities. And these girls work hard. Our divas and our drummers are scholarly students. They're leaders in their homes, schools, and communities. And we came to the Hollywood Christmas Parade to show our skills and our talents to the world.
The collective teaches different styles of dancing, from ballet to hip-hop. Berry and her husband Terrence formed the group in 2012 when they were bringing up their own children in Compton.
The focus for us is really just to establish a safe social environment, right? So they learn to have positive relationships and interaction between young people, and they understand the importance of integrity and being a good person.
The Dancing Divas added a drum corps for young men in 2018. Jasir Faulkner has been there from the beginning.
What we do goes to show how certain organizations that could start off from such small places can just do great things. Like we've performed at the Super Bowl pregame show, America's Got Talent. We're up and coming.
Performing here in Hollywood is part of that up-and-coming exposure, as the Christmas parade is broadcast internationally. Brentley Shorts says it is the start of bigger plans for her dance career.
It's very inspirational for me because one day I want to have my own team and bring them here and perform on the red carpet.
Oscar-nominated actor Jeremy Renner was the grand marshal of this year's parade.
Drummers and from Compton and thing, and that's happening. I think there's opportunities, right? Everybody needs to be heard. Everybody needs to be witnessed. And then when you can do that, then you can give an opportunity to somebody.
The Drumline and Music Education Program focuses on young people between the ages of 5 and 19, with the goal of spreading positivity and confidence while entertaining and inspiring the community. Jenya Dulo, VOA News, Los Angeles.
As he prepares to take office in less than a month, President-elect Donald Trump has threatened to reassert U.S. control over the Panama Canal, and he renewed calls to buy Greenland from Denmark. White House Bureau Chief Phili has this report.
Greenland, the ice-covered semi-autonomous Danish territory, is again in President-elect Donald Trump's crosshairs. As he named his ambassador to Denmark on Sunday, Trump wrote that, quote, "For purposes of national security and freedom throughout the world, the United States of America feels the ownership and control of Greenland is an absolute necessity." Trump also suggested Sunday he would retake control of the Panama Canal. He called the raid's Panama charges to use the vital shipping route a, quote, "complete ripoff."
If the principles, both moral and legal, of this magnanimous gesture of giving are not followed, then we will demand that the Panama Canal be returned to the United States of America in full, quickly, and without question.
Every square meter of the canal will continue to belong to Panama, said the country's president Jose Raul Molino, rejecting Trump's allegations of overcharging.
El canal no tiene control.
Rates are not a whim. They are established publicly in an open hearing, considering market conditions, international competition, operating costs, and the needs of maintenance and modernization of the interoceanic waterway.
Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen also pushed back, saying Greenland is not for sale. Trump's initial calls to purchase Greenland in 2019 during his first term came to nothing. But his statements now, as he prepares to take the oath of office on January 20th, are making some allies and partners wary. That includes Canada. Trump has referred to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as, quote, "the governor," suggesting the U.S. can absorb its northern neighbor, as he threatened 25% tariffs against the country. Trump's end goal is unclear, but on Monday, his son Eric Trump posted to social media a doctored photo of the president-elect purchasing Canada, Greenland, and the Panama Canal via Amazon, the online shopping website. Patsy Widakuswara, VOA News, Washington.
The magnitude 9 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami on December 26, 2004 killed over 230,000 people in 15 countries. The Indonesian province of Aceh was especially hard hit. 20 years later, VOA's Ahadian Utama reports on the lessons learned from the historic disaster.
20 years after the massive Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami brought devastation to the Indonesian province of Aceh, some reminders of the event still stand as memorials, including a fishing boat that got swept onto a home in the provincial capital Banda Aceh. Rahmatullah Mosque, around 500 meters from the coastline, was the only building standing after the waves hit. All other buildings around it were demolished. The mosque has now been rebuilt, but the corner of it still memorializes the devastation in 2004.
This is for future generations, because our children don't even know what a tsunami is. They didn't experience it.
By contrast, Delisa Fitri Rahmadani did experience it. She was 7 years old when massive waves dragged her 8 kilometers from her home, killing her family members and causing her to lose one of her legs.
I felt such immense fear, not only from the strong waves, but the ground itself continued to shake.
Ramadhani is now an advocate for disaster preparedness.
What I know is when disaster hits, there will be panic and running around. But we can all plan this out now, including establishing meeting points for evacuations.
But some are concerned not enough has been done to improve the region's preparedness.
Aceh schools still don't have disaster preparedness included in their curriculum. Imagine, it's been 20 years.
Government bodies and non-governmental organizations sometimes hold disaster mitigation events to educate the public, but experts worry this may not be enough.
Disaster preparedness education is more sustainable when it is integrated into existing activities. When it's just a one-off event, people don't really remember.
To prevent another massive loss of life in the events of future disasters, the Aceh Disaster Management Agency has put in place evacuation infrastructure. There are now clear road signs and safe houses on the evacuation path. There are also 10 early warning sensors connected to tsunami warning sirens dotted around Aceh.
If something does happen, we must be prepared to act. At the least, with this, we can take advantage of the so-called golden time.
Golden time is the amount of time a person has between an earthquake and the arrivals of a potential tsunami. Experts say in 2004, locals had between 15 and 30 minutes to get out of the paths of the tsunami. And while officials here say progress is slow, they will continue to work towards the goal now of creating the infrastructure that will allow everyone to get out the way of the next series of deadly waves. In Banda Aceh, Ahadian Utama, VOA News.
Let us know what you think about Africa 54 and all our VOA Africa programs on our website at voaafrica.com. Still to come, we take you downtown Washington, D.C., where a local initiative is helping communities manage stress. Stay with us.
On the next Straight Talk Africa, we'll take a look at how tech startups are using artificial intelligence.
So the AI, you could use it both ways, in two different ways. One is to use it as it is, or you could train it.
Creating content has become so easy.
We talk a lot about responsible AI, and we attribute that to the large tech companies, but it's also up to us as AI practitioners, the smaller companies that are leveraging AI, to think about how we can use it responsibly.
Another year is ending, and like many other years, we are about to bid farewell to the year 2024. It was a year of remarkable achievements and significant challenges. On this episode of Our Voices, we will be reviewing major events of 2024 that had profound impacts on women and girls on the continent. We will also highlight the remarkable efforts by women over the past year as they continue to demand change and progress despite the hardships they face. Join the conversation each week right here on Our Voices.
In other news, at least 21 people, including 2 police officers, have been killed in Mozambique in post-election violence that erupted after the ruling party was controversially confirmed winners in recent elections. The country's highest court had confirmed on Monday that the Frelimo party, in power since 1975, won the October 9th presidential election that had already triggered weeks of unrest. A total of 236 acts of serious violence were reported across the country, leaving at least 25 wounded, including 13 police officers, according to Interior Minister Pascal Ronda. In Morocco aims to grant women more rights over child custody and guardianship, as well as a veto over polygamous marriage, according to the Justice and Islamic Affairs ministers. Women's rights campaigners have been pushing for a revision of regulations governing the rights of women and children within the family in Morocco, where Islam is the state religion. The draft code proposes more than 100 amendments, notably allowing women to stipulate opposition to polygamy in a marriage contract. Today, we introduce you to a program operating around the Washington D.C. metropolitan area that helps people manage their stress through knitting. In this report produced by VOA's Alexiou, Project Knitwell is about volunteers helping people in stressful situations within their community.
Your thumb and your index finger up about 1 inch from the top.
The goal is that the miters all go the same way.
Project Knitwell is a nonprofit organization that was started 14 years ago, in 2010. It started as a result of my experience being the mother of a pediatric patient. Well, really, my daughter at that time was 7 weeks old, and she was rushed to MedStar Georgetown University Hospital. And it was a very stressful time for me. And I had been a knitter, but I hadn't knit in a very long time. And someone I knew had sent a present for her, and it was a hand-knit sweater. And when I opened it, somehow a bell went off in my head, and I thought, this is what I'm going to do. I just believed this would help me get through the hospital stay. My name is Carol Caparosa, and I am the founder of Project Knitwell. I've been the executive director at different points in the history of the organization. I'm currently on the board, so I've worn a lot of different hats with Project Knitwell. So you want to remember, you want to go in right by your thumb. Okay. And you want to... I found it as a great method to relax, and it seemed like it would be a good thing to teach people in hospitals or halfway houses or teen facilities who are in stressful situations.
A lot of our bone marrow transplant patients will come for hours certain days to get their chemo infusions upstairs, and one of them I actually bonded with by telling them. I was mentioning my newfound hobby of knitting, and she was like, oh, well, let me show you what I've made. And we were going through photos of her knitting together. Certain patients find it really helpful as well, just to help pass the time in infusion chairs.
Come through and off.
Perfect.
Okay, cool.
You've got it.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
In our hospital settings, we can work with both the patient, family members, their caregivers, and also staff.
Project Knitwell is essential really for our staff well-being. So they come in and teach staff how to knit, and then also hold knitting times for staff when they can go in at lunchtime and knit together, because knitting is not only about taking time out for yourself and doing something to reduce stress, but it's about building a community.
Okay, here we are at the Project Knitwell wall, I call it, at MedStar Georgetown University Hospital. These are just examples of the kinds of projects that people can knit while they're in the hospital. So we purposely make them simple, achievable, so that our people we work with will have a sense of accomplishment and be successful. This is Keisha. She was a mom that I worked with for almost 5 months, and she learned to knit while she was in the hospital. This is her son, Elliot, and as you can see, she's holding Elliot and knitting a scarf. She became quite a knitter. She's on our board right now.
I just sit and do it when I'm bored, sit and do it when I'm frustrated. It's fun. It's okay with me doing this. It keeps you calm. Take stress off you. You don't think about other stuff. All you think about is knitting.
Knitwood just helps the ladies. And if they can help keep them calm and keep them grounded and somewhat balanced and somewhat with a clear mind, even for 2 hours, then they've helped the village as a whole. You know, our ladies don't get a lot of that outside of here. You know, they come from every walk of life. People come off from the airport, ironically, and someone has told them about industry, and then when they hear about the classes, or they hear about the classes, and they hear about like Knitwell, and they also can come in and kind of see what they're doing, and they're very inviting. Your guys are very inviting, and we appreciate that because our women want our women to feel at home, and when they come in with Knitwell, they feel at home.
I'm making a scarf. I made a scarf, and now I'm making. I left it at the center. But I'm making a throw blanket.
What big?
It'll be pretty big. Well, I'd say about that big. Yeah, about that wide. Yeah.
My name is Alexiou, and I'm the Executive Director of Project Knitwell. Project Knitwell is working at 13 different sites right now. We work in about 4 different hospitals in the Washington, D.C. area, but we also have some sites at different community groups throughout the area. We work with children, women, refugees, people, any type of person who's really facing a challenge. We find that knitting can really bring a source of comfort and community to them.
I learned to knit when I was a young girl back home, so it's still on me. I never forget. Originally, I'm from Nigeria. It's relaxing. It's very relaxing. You forget, you just wind down your mind. It's an act. So you just keep on knitting. It takes you away because you are eager to see what you're doing. It takes you away and forget some worries or anything. It's very relaxing.
Bring the X to the front, and I take it off. They say it releases serotonin, which is a chemical that helps calm down, make you a little happier. You're doing great. Around the back, click, good. The whole mission of Project Knitwell is to utilize knitting as a wellness tool for people who are in stressful situations.
Project Knitwell is a non-profit organization with volunteers helping people in stressful situations within their community. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, thanks for watching.